Ever wondered when England actually became? Well, England, for a long time, it wasn't a single country at all. Instead, it was a patchwork of rival Anglo-Saxon kingdoms, like Wessex, Mercia, Northumbria, and East Anglia. These kingdoms were constantly at war with each other, and on top of that, they faced the ever-present threat of Viking invasions from across the sea. It was a chaotic and violent era, but from this turmoil, one man would rise to forge a nation. His name was Aethelstan, and he is widely considered the very first king of England. So, who was this pivotal figure? Aethelstan was born around 894 CE, into the powerful house of Wessex. You might have heard of his grandfather, the legendary Alfred the Great. While Alfred fought off the Vikings and laid the groundwork, it was his grandson, Aethelstan, who would finish the job. He ascended to the throne in 924 CE, inheriting a kingdom that was already expanding. His father, Edward the Elder, had successfully brought the kingdom of Mercia under Wessex's control. But Aethelstan had grander ambitions. He wasn't content with just ruling a part of the land. He wanted it all. Aethelstan was a brilliant military strategist and a relentless leader. He immediately set his sights on the remaining independent territories. His primary target was the Viking kingdom of Northumbria, centered around the city of York. In 927 CE, after a decisive campaign, he conquered Northumbria, driving out the Viking king Guthfrith. This was a monumental moment. For the first time, a single ruler controlled all the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms in the Viking-held territories. He then marched further, securing the submission of the Welsh and Scottish kings. It was at this point that Aethelstan adopted a title no ruler before him had ever truly held, Rex Anglorum, which is Latin for King of the English. While his grandfather Alfred was king of the Anglo-Saxons, Aethelstan was the first to be recognized as the king of the entire English people, marking the birth of a unified kingdom. But uniting a kingdom is one thing. Keeping it united is another challenge entirely. The rulers Aethelstan had defeated were not happy. They saw his growing power as a direct threat to their own independence. So, in 937 CE, a massive alliance formed against him. This great army was led by King Olaf Guthfrithson of Dublin, King Constantine II of Scotland, and King Owain of Strath. It was a formidable coalition of Vikings, Scots, and Britons, all determined to crush the newly formed English kingdom and break Aethelstan's power once and for all. The two sides met at a location known as Brunn. The exact site of the battle is still debated by historians, but its importance is undeniable. The Battle of Brunanburh was one of the largest and bloodiest conflicts of the entire Anglo-Saxon period. The fighting was ferocious and lasted all day. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, one of our key historical sources, describes it in a famous poem, speaking of a slaughter field and rivers of blood. Aethelstan and his brother Edmund fought side by side at the head of their army. In the end, the English forces achieved a crushing victory. The coalition was shattered. 5 kings and 7 earls from the invading army were killed. The victory at Brunanburh was a defining moment. It confirmed Aethelstan's absolute authority and secured England's borders. It sent a clear message to all of Britain and beyond. The Kingdom of England was here to stay. This single battle cemented the unity that Aethelstan had fought so hard to create. Aethelstan's achievements weren't limited to the battlefield. He was also a remarkably skilled and forward-thinking administrator who laid the foundations for the English state. He understood that military might alone couldn't hold a kingdom together. So, he worked to centralize power. He issued law codes that applied to the entire kingdom, not just his native Wessex. These laws aimed to create order and justice, dealing with issues like theft, trade, and social responsibility. This was a crucial step in creating a shared English identity, where people from Mercia or Northumbria saw themselves as subjects of the same king and the same law. He also revolutionized the economy by standardizing the coinage. Before Aethelstan, different kingdoms had different coins, which made trade complicated. He established a single, unified currency and set up over 30 mints across the country, all producing coins with his image and title. This not only made commerce easier, but also served as a brilliant piece of propaganda. Every time someone used a coin, they were holding a small reminder of the king's power and authority. which reached every corner of the land. This level of administrative control was unprecedented for its time and demonstrated a sophisticated understanding of how to govern a large and diverse realm. Furthermore, Athelstan was a master of diplomacy and a patron of culture. He wasn't just some warlord. He was a king with a vision for England's place in the world. He built strong alliances across Europe, using a very clever strategy: marriage. He married off his many half-sisters to some of the most powerful rulers on the continent, including the future Holy Roman Emperor, the King of West Francia, and the Duke of the Franks. This network of family ties turned England from an isolated island into a respected and influential player in European politics. His court became a cosmopolitan center, attracting scholars and nobles from all over. Athelstan was also a deeply pious man who worked closely with the church. He founded monasteries, endowed churches with land and relics, and promoted education. He was a keen collector of books and sacred relics, and under his rule, manuscript production flourished. His scriptoriums produced some of the most beautiful and important illuminated manuscripts of the era. This patronage of learning and religion helped to foster a sense of cultural unity to go along with the political unity he had forged. He wasn't just building a kingdom, he was cultivating a civilization. In 939 CE, just 2 years after his great victory at Brunambar, Athelstan died. He had never married or had children, so the throne passed to his half-brother, Edmund. He was buried not in the traditional resting place of Wessex kings, but at Malmesbury Abbey, a place he held dear. His reign, though relatively short, was transformative. While later kings, including his own successors, would face renewed Viking invasions and internal struggles, the foundation Athelstan had laid was too strong to be broken. The idea of England as a single, unified kingdom had been firmly planted. So, the next time you think about the history of England, remember that it didn't just appear out of nowhere. It was forged in fire and blood, through political cunning and administrative genius, by one remarkable king. Athelstan took a fractured land of warring kingdoms and, through sheer force of will, created a nation. He is the forgotten father of England, the man who truly united the English people and set the stage for the next 1,000 years of history. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you enjoyed learning about King Athelstan, please hit that like button, and consider subscribing for more deep dives into history. Let me know in the comments which historical figure you'd like to see covered next. See you in the next video.